There comes a moment in every life when success stops being about achievement and starts being about alignment. Not alignment with expectations, not alignment with society, but alignment with the quiet voice inside that knows when something is missing. Many people live productive lives while feeling disconnected. They accomplish, they provide, they stay busy, yet something remains unsettled. This feeling is not failure, it is awareness awakening. Awareness that life is asking for more than survival. It is asking for intention. True motivation does not come from external reward. It comes from inner congruence, from knowing that your daily actions reflect who you truly are and what you are here to build. When this congruence is absent, success feels hollow. When it is present, even difficult seasons feel meaningful. This is the difference between motion and purpose. Motion exhausts, purpose sustains. The deepest form of motivation is not urgency, it is clarity. Clarity about what matters, clarity about what lasts, clarity about what will remain when effort is no longer possible. This is where wealth must be redefined, not as accumulation alone, but as preservation of time, energy, and impact. Eternal wealth is built when your work continues to serve long after your attention moves elsewhere, long after your energy changes, long after your season shifts. This is why real estate has always been more than property. It is permanence made practical. It is structure that holds value across generations. It is one of the few vehicles capable of carrying intention forward in time. But before wealth can be built externally, alignment must be established internally. A divided mind cannot build lasting foundations. When actions conflict with values, motivation drains. When actions reinforce identity, motivation renews itself. This is why the journey inward always precedes the journey outward. You must decide who you are becoming before deciding what you will own. Ownership without identity creates pressure. Identity with ownership creates peace. Peace is not the absence of effort, it is the presence of direction. Direction allows effort to compound rather than scatter. This is the kind of motivation that does not fade. It does not depend on mood. It does not rely on inspiration. It is anchored in purpose. Purpose turns discipline into devotion. Devotion transforms work into legacy, and legacy begins the moment you decide that your life will build something that outlasts you. Not for recognition, not for applause, but for continuity of values, continuity of security, continuity of opportunity for those who come after. This is not ambition, it is responsibility embraced consciously. When responsibility is chosen rather than avoided, motivation deepens. And when motivation deepens, effort becomes sustainable. This is where true wealth begins, quietly, internally, before it ever appears externally. Before anything meaningful can be built in the world, something must be stabilized within the self. Most people search for motivation while avoiding the inner work that makes motivation unnecessary. They look outward for energy because inward there is conflict. Conflict between who they are and who they know they are meant to become. This conflict is exhausting. It scatters attention. It weakens resolve. And over time, it convinces people that discipline is something they lack, rather than something blocked by misalignment. The truth is simpler. A person aligned with their values does not need to be pushed. They are pulled forward by meaning. Meaning is what quiets distraction. When life lacks meaning, the mind seeks stimulation, endless information, endless comparison, endless noise. These are not habits of laziness. They are symptoms of a deeper hunger, a hunger for coherence. The mind wants unity. It wants your thoughts, actions, and intentions to move in the same direction. When they do not, resistance appears. Resistance masquerades as procrastination, as doubt, as self-sabotage. But resistance is not an enemy. It is feedback. It signals that something inside you is asking to be addressed before it can support expansion. This is why patience with yourself is essential. Not indulgence, not avoidance, but patience grounded in honesty. Growth that skips inner stability creates outer fragility. This is as true in life as it is in wealth. Structures built on unstable foundations eventually reveal their weakness. The disciplined understand this intuitively. They do not rush healing. They do not force clarity. They allow understanding to mature. This inner patience mirrors the patience required to build enduring wealth, especially in real estate. Real estate rewards those who respect time. It does not respond to emotional urgency. It responds to steady stewardship, to maintenance performed consistently, to decisions made with foresight rather than impulse. Just as the self must be tended to daily, assets must be cared for deliberately. Neglect compounds, so does attention. This is why real estate has always been a mirror for the inner world. Disorder inside leads to disorder outside. Discipline inside creates durability outside. Ownership at its highest level is an extension of self-mastery. It is not control over others, it is responsibility for what you have been entrusted with. This includes property, but it also includes time, focus, energy. The person who cannot sit with themselves will struggle to sit with long-term investments. They will seek quick wins, immediate feedback, constant reassurance. But eternal wealth does not provide constant reassurance. It provides delayed certainty. The certainty that if alignment is maintained, outcomes will arrive in their season. This same principle governs inner peace. You do not become whole overnight. You become whole through repetition, through showing up when it would be easier to distract yourself, through choosing presence over escape, through honoring commitments made quietly to yourself. These small acts of integrity rebuild trust between you and your own mind. And self-trust is the root of confidence, not bravado, not performance, but calm certainty. Calm certainty allows you to wait, to listen, to discern rather than react. This is the posture required to build wealth that lasts, not the wealth of excitement, but the wealth of continuity. Continuity between who you are and what you build. When inner and outer worlds reflect each other, motivation no longer spikes and crashes. It steadies, it deepens, it becomes resolve. Resolve is motivation that has matured, and mature motivation does not shout. It commits, quietly, daily, with reverence for time and respect for the process. This is the kind of motivation that builds lives, not just outcomes. And it is available to anyone willing to align inwardly before expanding outwardly. At some point, motivation stops being about what you can get and becomes about what you will leave behind. This transition is subtle. It does not announce itself with urgency. It arrives quietly, often during moments of stillness when the noise of achievement fades. You begin to realize that accumulation alone does not satisfy the deeper questions of life. The question shifts from how much can I build to what will remain when I am no longer actively building. This is where legacy begins, not as an abstract idea, but as a responsibility felt internally. Legacy is not about remembrance. It is about continuity. Continuity of values, continuity of stability, continuity of opportunity. True wealth is measured by how well it carries meaning forward in time. This is why land has always held significance beyond its economic value. Land does not move, it does not disappear, it endures across cycles, across generations, across lives. When you own real estate, you are not simply owning space, you are participating in permanence. You are choosing to anchor value in something that resists erosion by time. This is why real estate has long been associated with legacy. It allows intention to outlive effort. It allows work done today to provide shelter, security, and structure tomorrow. Long after the original builder has stepped away, this perspective changes how wealth is approached. It removes haste. It removes comparison. It replaces consumption with stewardship. Stewardship is not ownership driven by entitlement. It is ownership guided by care. Care for the asset, care for the people it serves, care for the future it supports. When wealth is viewed this way, motivation deepens. It is no longer fueled by fear of falling behind. It is fueled by commitment to something larger than self. This is why generational wealth cannot be built impulsively. It requires patience that transcends immediate gratification. It requires decisions made with future lives in mind. Decisions that consider not just return, but responsibility. Responsibility for stability, responsibility for continuity, responsibility for preservation. The discipline to understand that every asset carries a story of how it was acquired, how it was managed, how it was protected, and how it was passed forward. These stories shape outcomes more than numbers ever will. This is why haste erodes legacy. Haste prioritizes extraction over endurance. Endurance requires restraint. Restraint requires purpose. Purpose transforms effort into contribution. Contribution gives meaning to work that might otherwise feel heavy. When you understand that your work today will provide stability for someone you may never meet, discipline no longer feels like sacrifice. It feels like service. This is the moment motivation becomes self-sustaining. You are no longer driven by emotion. You are guided by principle. Principles do not fluctuate. They do not react. They remain steady across seasons of abundance and scarcity. This steadiness is what allows wealth to endure, not just financially, but ethically. Ethically built wealth does not collapse under scrutiny. It withstands time because it was built with time in mind. This is why land buildings, and real estate portfolios are often passed through generations, while faster forms of wealth dissipate. They are grounded, they require presence, they demand care, and in return, they provide continuity. Continuity is the deepest form of security. It assures not just provision, but stability across uncertainty. When life changes, when markets shift, when circumstances evolve, continuity remains. This is the kind of wealth that quiets fear. Not because it guarantees ease, but because it provides grounding. Grounding allows people to think clearly. Clear thinking leads to wise decisions. Wise decisions protect what matters. This cycle repeats across generations when wealth is built with intention rather than urgency. Legacy then is not an outcome. It is a process of choosing alignment over impulse, of choosing stewardship over consumption, of choosing permanence over performance. This is the kind of motivation that does not fade with time. It grows quieter, deeper, more resolute, and it prepares the ground for wealth that does not end with a lifetime, but continues as a living extension of values, honored consistently over time. Eventually, a moment arrives when striving gives way to understanding. You realize that life was never asking you to hurry. It was asking you to become steady, steady in thought, steady in intention, steady in action. The deepest motivation is not urgency. It is peace with direction. When direction is clear, effort softens. Not because the work is easy, but because it is meaningful. Meaning removes resistance. Resistance fades when the mind understands why it is doing what it does. This is why clarity is more powerful than inspiration. Inspiration arrives and departs. Clarity remains. Clarity anchors the self during seasons of doubt. It reminds you that growth is not always visible, yet it is always occurring when alignment is maintained. This is the nature of time. Time does not reward urgency, it rewards consistency. Every action taken in alignment with purpose deposits something unseen into the future. These deposits accumulate quietly, and one day, without announcement, they become undeniable. This is true of inner peace. This is true of character. And this is true of wealth built to endure. Eternal wealth is not created through moments of intensity. It is created through seasons of commitment. Commitment to values, commitment to patience, commitment to stewardship rather than consumption. Real estate, at its highest expression, is a reflection of this commitment. It stands quietly while the world moves quickly around it. It absorbs time rather than resisting it. It rewards those who respect process over impulse. This is why those who build lasting wealth often appear calm. They are not detached. They are grounded. Grounded in the understanding that what lasts is rarely rushed. When you no longer feel the need to prove, you begin to build properly. When comparison fades, clarity strengthens. And when clarity strengthens, motivation stabilizes. Stable motivation does not fluctuate with outcomes. It persists through uncertainty. It remains present during waiting. It trusts the process because it has aligned itself with truth. Truth does not hurry, it unfolds. This is the lesson most people never allow themselves to learn. They abandon alignment just before its effects become visible. They mistake silence for stagnation, but silence is often preparation. Roots grow quietly, foundations set invisibly. Strength forms long before it can be measured. This is how peace is built within a person. This is how wealth is built beyond a person. Both require trust in something larger than momentary feedback. Trust in alignment, trust in time, trust in the quiet accumulation of consistent action. When you commit to building in this way, fear loses its influence. Fear depends on uncertainty. Direction dissolves it. Direction allows you to move forward without demanding constant reassurance. This is freedom, not freedom from effort, but freedom from inner conflict. Inner conflict is what drains life. Alignment restores it. And when life energy is restored, motivation no longer needs to be manufactured. It flows naturally from purpose. Purpose expressed through discipline. Discipline honored through patience. Patience rewarded by time. This is the cycle that sustains both peace and prosperity. Decide who you are becoming. Build in a way that reflects that identity. Choose assets that endure. Choose actions that align. Let time do what it always does when consistency is honored. What emerges is not chance, it is coherence. A life that makes sense internally and leaves something meaningful externally. This is the deepest motivation available to a human being, to know that their life is aligned, that their work matters, and that what they build will continue quietly, steadily, and faithfully beyond their own season of effort. That is eternal wealth.